Here is Mabel Sue Jolene, who has one of the best names ever. And this is a really beautiful 16 two-hand 4-year-old thoroughbred mare. And this is her second post-track ride. I did her first ride on last Friday. I want to say that was like the 19th. And then so she had the weekend off. And she came out today on this Monday morning for her second ride. And on her first ride, she was excellent. She'd only been here for about a day and a half when I popped on her. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for her and see what her general temperament was like and her, just sort of like get a feel for her vibe, which was that she was extremely, extremely quiet and an easygoing type horse. And just, she was fairly distracted just by looking around everything going on around the ring and that sort of thing, but just very well natured, kind type of horse. And so she had the weekend to settle in some more and take it all in. And then she came out today for her second ride. And, as I thought she would, she was just much more focused and settled, not nearly as, sort of feeling the need to pick up her head and sort of gaze around as much as she was for the first ride. So just a huge progress between ride number one and two. In her first ride, it was obvious to me that she wants to make a really nice round shape. And so today she came out much more consistent in that shape. I mean, obviously, it's not perfect. This is a 4-year-old on her second post track ride. So we are not expecting perfection. But if you go watch her first ride and then you compare that to this, I hope that it's pretty clear that she made quite a bit of progress between the two rides. In her first ride, I had her in I want to say it was an egg butt snaffle. It was some sort of basic metal snaffle bit. And because she felt very soft in her mouth and very much wanting to be round, I put her in the Hermspringer Duo today, and I thought that that was a good choice for her. She felt comfortable in it. A little bit of like mouth opening, but I find that very normal with these guys. They're getting used to the contact in a new way, and she doesn't look uncomfortable in her mouth to me. She just sort of, she just looks like a green horse who's trying to piece it all together and figure it out. I don't find it to be alarming or glaring in any way, and it will diminish in time as she gets more miles and more understanding of the concept of this whole connection thing that we're going for. But certainly she has the correct intuition. Here, this is quite nice. She makes a lovely shape, and then she sees something that she needs to get a little look at. But anyway, she makes a lovely shape, and I liked her in the Hermspringer Duo, so I was quite happy with her today. I don't know what it is lately about all my red mares. I've really been on a wonderful streak with red mares. She has the cutest ears and they sort of flop along or they really tell you what she's thinking at all moments. And she's just such a kind mare. I mean, I've yet to see her make any sort of a sour face at anything. She's just very like puppy dog like, wants to follow you around, wants to interact. Very cute, snuggly mare, which is, her track connections echoed that sentiment 100% with her as well. The hardest thing about her, honestly, is sort of like just keeping her going. And the trot, it's not terrible. I mean, you'll see that I'm holding a stick to sort of twofold to help keep her coming forward and to help a little bit with the straightness in that right shoulder, which isn't terrible. She's actually very good for such a young green horse and very professional about things like, not even though she's sort of looking around in moments like here, she's never looking for a reason to have a moment. Like she's not spooky at all. Like she might look at something that's piqued her interest in the distance, but she's not trying to look for things to spook at. There's certainly no silliness of any kind. But actually keeping her going in the canter, that is the hardest thing about her. And I sort of have experimented a little bit back and forth. And I think that today I settled on the fact that actually the best thing to do is to teach her the language by speaking her the language. And what I mean by that is when we first cantered, we went to the left. And before we got this bit of canter, I asked her to canter a few times. She would pick up the canter, hold it for, 5, 10, 15 steps, and then break like she almost did there, but I caught it. And so we sort of went through this like revolving door of like, okay, we're cantering, we're breaking, we're cantering, we're breaking. I literally just couldn't keep her in the canter. And of course, I don't want to do any, I don't want to create drama. So I tried to, I thought maybe it was best to be in half seat, to remove my seat from the equation. and maybe that would be easier for her to keep coming forward. But actually, when I went to the right, I decided, why don't I just try sitting? And maybe she needs to understand the seat, and maybe that will help me balance her and keep her going forward. And actually, I think that really did help. So, and actually, she did quite a nice right canter transition here. So here in the beginning, we're having a little discussion about the fact that I'm sitting. That feels a little bit different for her. But then once she sort of adjusts to the fact that, yep, I'm sitting on her back, this is my seat, this is going to be an aid now in our equation, she actually does much better canter work. Like here, this is getting a lot better. So it actually goes much better once I sort of just suck it up and actually just teach her that the seat is part of the equation and it's going to help us be balanced and help keep you coming in front of the leg, which it did. So that was definitely the way to go. And that's not always true with all of them. For some of them, sitting really truly makes it really difficult for them to hold the contact at first if that's just too much pressure on their top line when they first come off the track. But for her, it worked. So, there's never one obvious solution. Nothing's ever going to work unanimously across the board for every horse. But for her, I thought that this was the right solution, at least today. It could be different tomorrow, but today this is what worked. So I was pretty happy with that right canter work here. Like, this is pretty good here. She's much more consistent in the contact, much more settled in her mouth. She's not trying to drop or break out of the canter. So that was good. I was very happy with her. And, just what a pleasant horse. The fact that, like, that's my biggest complaint about her on her second post-track ride is pretty remarkable. It really speaks to her character. I mean, this is a horse who literally just ran on September 3rd. So what is that? 3 weeks ago, she ran her last race. So I was very happy with her. She's just a very kind horse. Anybody who's looking for an easy restart or maybe your first restart, this is definitely an ideal candidate for that sort of thing.